What's up, guys? Rick here. Just want to say thank you guys for getting this far in, and I want to go over some of the stuff with intermittent fasting and what it means. So give you a quick overview and then I'll break down details. I'm going to get into fads versus the lifestyle idea of it, like the diet option versus this is just what I do, some of the testing that we've done, some of the wrong ways to do things and some of the right ways to do things. We're going to get into sweets and then the different ways people mess up the way that they do their diet options, which is like calories in, calories out, or what's my window supposed to be, things that are confusing people, that we can simplify this down a little bit. How to break a fast, the easiest way that I've seen. I've done it multiple ways and what works best. Also, some of the mistakes as far as cheat days versus overdoing it or even like not doing it all. There's pros and cons to those options too, especially mentally and not only physically. And then also understanding how powerful it is to get over the fears and the support system part of it. And there's a lot to cover. So this may be a longer video. If you're like me, you'll probably skip through it to try to get through to the best parts. But it's important to be able to know some of these things to be able to feel better about moving forward on this instead of having to almost make excuses why you can't do something. And I think that for my understanding on things, and this may change over time, the more you understand something, the less you're afraid of things. The more you know how to do something, the less intimidating it gets. And so hopefully this helps at least some of you a little bit. So let's get into the idea between a fad diet or a diet that's got very stringent and strict ideas versus creating a lifestyle that's sustainable. I personally don't believe in absolutes in just about anything. Maybe a couple things I don't do. Smoking. I'm not a smoker, so I don't believe smoking's got any actual benefit for you. Sodas and pops, that's poison. Don't drink poison. I think across the board, don't drink poison. So maybe those things. But as far as a fad, like something where you have to be in ketosis, like the keto diet, or something that people try to do to be able to hit a certain goal that they had in mind, but then have the mindset of after I hit that goal, I'm going to go back to my old eating habits because that's what I'm used to doing, or that's what I've been taught. And when you have that kind of a mindset, it's a degree of temporary mindset, or failure already is ingrained in the plan. And if you have failure already set up as part of the design, the only outcome will be over a long enough period of time will be failure. Even if you hit your goal and you lose weight to that point, you're like, nailed it. I had, whatever goal that was, whether it be going on a cruise and looking your best, or this summer I'm going to look my greatest, or it's my wedding day and I'm going to nail this. I'm going to look the best I've ever looked. After that goal is hit, people go back to old habits. Now, having old habits makes it so you're going to have old results. And that's a difficult pattern to break unless you simplify this down. And so things about creating a lifestyle instead of a diet is if it's sustainable and it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable or doesn't bring you displeasure while doing it, then you can keep going with it. And that's the good part. That's what you want to get. So let's go into some of the wrong ways I see people do some of these things. There's a lot of diets out there that'll say no carbs, no sugars, like zero tolerance, only eat proteins, like things like this where it gets pretty intense, and you'll have lifestyle stuff like celebrations or birthdays or things where we've been taught that sugar is the reward system. So a cake or a popsicle or ice cream or whatever ends up being, sugar is going to be the reward. And sugar does have its applications because it makes you feel good. It gives you that dopamine rush at first because your mouth and brain go, yay, until your body goes, we don't break this down very well at all, and it starts rotting your teeth, giving you bad breath, gaining weight, lowering your energy or spiking your energy and dropping it real hard. Your pancreas doesn't digest sugar or process sugar very well, and so it becomes very complicated to maintain this. And so it messes up your insulin levels. There's a whole bunch of sugar does. It's not good for us. Now, I believe in moderation in all things. And what I tried doing with intermittent fasting is pushing my window down really small, like as far as I could go. And I'll get into windows in a second. And I wanted to see if I eat junk food, like if I eat okay at first, but then I have ice cream and I have Reese's peanut butter cups and I have all these delicious sweets. Like, what happens? Do I still maintain or lose weight, or am I going to start gaining weight and feeling terrible? Now the thing is with this, if you do keep in a caloric deficit, even if you are eating sweets, yes, you will lose weight. If you have a small enough window and you are eating the full day's calories, but some of those calories are junk food, you will still go in a positive direction. The only thing I notice between going no sugars and having high sugars is that you feel worse while you're doing it. Sugar is one of the most addicting chemicals that we have. It's more addicting than cocaine. It's harder to quit than cocaine. How crazy is that? But the thing to know with sugar is that it's going to make you crash. And I felt foggy in my mind. I didn't feel as clear. I wasn't as energetic or happy. It's a weird thing to say. I wasn't as happy when I was eating a lot of sugar versus when I wasn't consuming processed sugar. So when I cut out the ice cream and the sweets and I wanted to see how my body reacted or how my mindset was, and it was more positive afterwards. Yeah, you might have a couple days that you're a grumpy Gus, but after that you end up feeling better again, and that's a pretty awesome feeling. But you'll start noticing the difference not only in your physical posture and your physical demeanor and the way that you feel confidently, but your energy goes up and you can keep up with the kids and you can start feeling good when you're at work and you're maintaining a more steady energy flow and feeling just better all the way around. That's the thing I noticed with or without the sugar thing. Very important to say, do you have to go cold turkey on this? No, you will still lose weight. Just understand the difference between those options, that you'll still be able to have positive results. It just won't be as clear. You won't feel as good. That's at least what I found with it, and I've seen the consistency with other people too. Like when I see people who go without sugar for a long time and then they decide to pump sugar into their body, they're like the grumpiest asshole I know for the day. And they go, man, maybe there was a big sugar spike and then I crashed. And it just makes it less consistent for us. So that's a good tip to know. Can you still do those things? Yes. Another thing with the windows is, one thing I've seen too is we've gone long windows, like 9-10 hours, and I've gone down to 4 hours. Does this work for everybody? Do not start this way. It does suck. There will be things that come up to make it so your windows don't always have to be consistent, and you may have to adjust accordingly. If I say I eat from 12 to 6, for example, let's say that's my window, 6-hour window today. And somebody else is like, well, I work nights, I can't do that window. You just adjust to your period. The easiest way that I've seen for people to be able to start adjusting is there are things that you can drink and you can have that doesn't break your fast. Things like black coffee or green tea. Some people struggle with this severely. They're used to drinking their sugar drinks, they're used to drinking sodas and things like this. But if you're drinking sodas and you're drinking things like that, it is going to make it so that you are still having those crashes and inconsistency. And it does give you some training as far as not eating food in those times, so it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but just know that if you drink anything like a Gatorade or Powerade or anything with sugars in it at all, sweeteners, anything like that, it does break your fast. Yes, also dairy. Anything that spikes your insulin will break your fast. And so the problem that I see people usually run into, not only with like quitting some of the things that do mess that up, is the idea of in your eating window, when you're during the time you do eat instead of the time that you don't eat. The struggle usually comes in where I see people try and still combine other eating styles with this one. So you'll say, I only eat during this window, but calories in, calories out. No, we have tried it both ways. It doesn't work. You'll feel like shit, completely. During the time frame of your window, eat your entire day's worth of food. You should never be hungry during your window. Eat all through that window. Now, if you start with 8 hours or 9 hours, I want you to keep pushing it down unless you're a female trying to get pregnant. Try and see what your limits are. Some people are at 7 hours. Guys can usually go a little further. I know guys who push 5 to 4 hours. Those are big windows, but during that 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, however your window is, eat all the time. Eat the whole time. I'm very full at the end of my fast. or at the end of my window. I eat right at the end of my window. I usually never take it past 6 o'clock. And then from that point on, I'm done for the day. And I feel good, I'm full, I'm satisfied, and I'm ready. And I want you guys to have that same feeling. It's important to not feel like it's a struggle. You should feel good. Now I see mostly my ladies who I run into this, who will still say calories in, calories out, I have to watch the scale. This is a failing process, and I got that in a whole other video. Stop doing that stuff. Calories in, calories out doesn't count here. You have to eat for this small window of time, and then you're done. The next thing that people goof up is going to be, how do I break my fast, which is called breakfast, break fast. What do I do? So in your morning, push your time frame that you start eating food back. You can suppress this with coffee, no sweetener, no dairy, but then you can also do green teas or tea with no sugar, no sweetener in it. And if you have those things, you can suppress your diet all the way back. If you take just 2 hours, just take a couple hours later. If you start eating at 7 a.m. when you usually do it, just push it to 9 a.m. Just take it a couple hours back. This will help you get started until you can start picking exactly when your window is, and that makes life so much easier to begin this. So when you're breaking your fast, make sure you don't mix up two different things. If you mix carbohydrates with fats, what it does is it opens the cell up for an insulin spike. And your body at the end of your fasting period, whether it be 16 hours or 18 hours or 14 hours, whatever your time is that you start eating again, the first thing you eat will absorb 5 times faster into your body. Very important, this is only the first meal you eat that does this. When you start eating, it needs to be something clean or single like that. It shouldn't be like oatmeal with sugar in it, because you'll be pumping sugar in your body. But something clean like eggs or bacon, or something that's not mixing fats and carbohydrates. Try and keep it clean on your first meal. I usually start with a protein shake or something simple. And that makes it so your body gets a chance to go, oh, we needed that. And then once it gets started, I'll wait like an hour or so. And then after that, you can eat like a dinosaur. Just go nuts. I have found the best results with a very high protein, high vegetable, high fruits. You go nuts. Eat as much of that stuff as you can, and it's good. Are carbohydrates bad? No. Carbohydrates aren't bad, but is it the same formula for everybody? No, again, we're all different, and so you have to figure out for yourself what's your carbohydrate limit to make it so that you can still have carbs and still find positive results. If you put the right amount of carbohydrates in your body, it does produce complex energy sources that does make you feel good through the day. If you go too far with it, that's when you get those big crashes and it starts becoming a little less positive. So you find out what the balance is on those. If you're trying to start your day off every day with a bagel and cream cheese, it's not a good way to break your fast. Maybe start moving to eggs or something a little more high protein. Even a protein shake is easy to take on the go. So mistakes that I see all the time when the people are breaking their fast or when they're having their fasting windows is cheat days. Cheat days are necessary. It's okay to not fast every single day. It's intermittent fasting, which doesn't mean it's just every single day fasting. When you're doing intermittent fasting like this, and I'm not even doing anything today on full-fledged fasting, we're going to keep that to a different thing. When you're doing intermittent fasting, it's intermittent. It's not every day. And so it's okay for you to be able to have some days that you have like, oh man, I had some pizza today, or we're gonna go out and have some drinks or celebrate my buddy's birthday, or my sister's getting married, we had some drinks at the wedding. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. Completely appropriate. Now, there are limits to this. If you do start having 4,000 calorie days where I'm just saying you're just shoving biscuits and gravy and you're eating a whole stack of French toast, and you're going crazy with your food, and you ate a whole pizza, and I drank 6 beers, and you just start crushing stuff, and you go nuts. Well, obviously, everything in moderation is really the key to this. And if you start seeing yourself going way too far in what would be considered like things you would make fun of, I ate a whole cake, or I drank a whole 2-liter myself that day. Do you have any idea how much sugar that is? Things like this will start watching you have a very negative impact. Now, having a slice of cake or having a piece of pizza or something in moderation that's a balanced amount. I had a little bit of ice cream. It tasted good. That was fine. It's no problem to do that stuff. I had a glass of wine. It was a long-ass day. Have your glass of wine. There's no absolutes. You didn't make a mistake. You didn't fail your diet. You didn't knock yourself out of ketosis. You're not having some sort of a breakdown, and you're not supposed to go into depression because you had a piece of pizza or you had a glass of wine. Fine. No problem. Don't stress. It's a good thing. And sometimes, let's just face it, we need to have a cut loose day. Have a cut loose day. If you can't, that's how you know your diet's a little too strict, and that's also how you know you're going to quit that shit one day because it doesn't fit in lifestyle. And it's gotta fit in lifestyle or else it's not gonna work. It just won't. All right, so how do you do that right? The answer is moderation on everything. I know I said it a couple of times, but I believe repetition is the key to all things. Moderate what you're putting in your body. You can eat proteins all day long. Go nuts. That's what I found a highest positive response. Proteins, vegetables, fruits, go nuts. But isn't there sugar in fruits? Yes, positive sugar, not processed sugar. Eat fruits all day long, no stress. Don't worry about it. Go nuts with it. Eat till you're full. And if you are having cheat days, don't stress on that either. Just don't go nuts on it. Just moderate. You know certain things that you can have and not have that you wouldn't make fun of. Don't eat a whole bunch of sweets and junk food. Just maybe have a little bit. Get the dopamine rush. Feel good. Feel nice. And then you're done. Like, I'm good. I got that. That was nice. You know, pro tip on that to make it so you can feel better when you're doing these things is don't say things like, I can't have that. I can't drink that. I can't do that. It implies you're in trouble. You're not in trouble. Nobody's going to punish you except for you, and I want to try to avoid you punishing you because you're probably the meanest person to you that you know. Don't do that anymore. Let's be more positive with the ideas, and instead of saying, I can't do that thing because that'll be bad for me. I can't. Say, I don't do that. I choose that. I'm in control of that. I don't drink those things. I don't smoke that thing. I don't do that thing. I don't eat those things. That's going to give you your power back and make it so that you don't feel like you're being restricted, but make it more that you feel like you're in control. And that'll help you a whole bunch when it comes to understanding how to do your windows and when you should be doing things. If you say, I don't eat outside my window, then you're in control. But if you say, I can't eat outside my window, now it feels like it might be something naughty I'm doing. You're just in control, and that's a good feeling to have. So some of the things that I see people get afraid of. What if I fail this? What if I don't do a good job? What if I fall off the wagon? Who else is doing this with me? Nobody in my family does this. What do I do? What do I do? Being afraid of something that's not common for you is natural. Change is one of our hardest things that we go through. And having to go through something where you're going to do a lifestyle change to better yourself, instead of looking at it as this massive change, really you're only tweaking a little bit. Instead of drinking a bunch of pop, now I just drink more water and I feel better. Well, that's not really a big, you're still drinking a bunch of stuff, it's just now you're drinking nicer stuff. Instead of eating 14 hours a day, like I just wait a couple hours before I wake up, and then, you know, I just stop eating a little bit earlier than I would before. It's really just a couple hours difference on both sides. We take that down, you get it down to like 10 hours. What's 10 hours mean? I mean, you're talking 11 to 9. Get serious. That's the whole entire day. Even if you break this thing down to like 11 to 6, 7 hours is like, it's a whole day still. You just push breakfast back a little bit and then you're done at dinner time. That's it. If I get off of work late, it's okay, move the window back. Go like 1 o'clock till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. It's no big deal. Don't stress on this. Figuring out the tricks to doing this is very helpful, but you also have the support system of our group in Just a Mile a Day and also in Jam the Excuses, and being able to reach out to everybody to say, hey, here's the victory that I had today and how good it feels to be moving forward. You know, people do see the scale going down, they see their strength going up, and they see more positivity come out of being able to have control again. going out to events where they used to overeat, or having a life thing that made them stress out and they have to eat more and more and more because stress eating was the way that they tried to handle things. Well, now they know I have control over this and there's more productive ways for me to be able to constructively handle this situation versus destructively handle this situation. So understand that you're the one in control. You don't do things because you don't want to. Not I can't do them, I'm not allowed. Important. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. I know we don't have a huge amount of support on this thing. I'm going to put this one public, so go ahead and subscribe more to Just a Mile a Day stuff. This will also be in the Jammy Excuses program, so if you want to be able to direct people to that, that's what we are doing also, and this hopefully helps you understand a little bit more about intermittent fasting to make it so you can have more belief in yourself when you move forward in this, instead of feeling helpless or that's not for me, or making an excuse as to why you're not able to control the way that you eat. It's still a sustainable lifestyle that you can do anywhere. It's non-restrictive. It makes it so you can still feel good about moving forward without feeling like you have chains on you. So, jam your excuses. I appreciate you all. Do your mile, get your workout done, and let's go.